Hey guys, Rominating Reaper here. So it's the 1st of December, yeah, we're nearing the final stretch of the year. I'm outside the cinema, and I am sure not to forget to hold space. Yep, I'm about to head in to see Wicked, and hearing a lot of good things, so I figured I might as well give it a go for myself. You know, it's proven to be a big crowd pleaser, so obviously, might as well give it a try. So, not going to take too much longer. I'm going to head in, get my snacks, get my seats, and go see Wicked. So I've got my popcorn here and a red Foxy Fanta, closest colour to get to Glenda's trademark pink, ready to pay a visit to the wonderful wizard. So yeah, Wicked. I am back from seeing it. As of course is coming to us from John M. Chu, who has some level of form when it comes to directing movie musicals. He previously directed In the Heights, so he's someone who can certainly be counted on as a reliable pair of hands that can guide this sort of production along. It has also been hyped up as one of the big must-see cinematic events of 2024. And so, obviously, with all of that hype, and I've been hearing a lot of really good things about it, I figured I may as well check the film out for myself, to fully understand just what all the hype is about. But is this a crowd-pleasing blockbuster musical that both the faithful and newly converted alike can enjoy? Let's find out. So the film follows Elphaba, who is shunned by her peers on the basis of her green skin. She arrives at Shiz University, where the Dean for Sorcery, Madame Morrible, sees great potential in her and begins teaching her to harness her magic abilities. Also, while at Shiz, Elphaba crosses paths with Galinda, a wealthy, privileged student who is, reluctantly forced to be her roommate. And soon, the pair of them, despite their differing backgrounds, end up becoming unlikely friends. A friendship which will eventually be put to the test as destiny begins to take its course. So I got to address the elephant in the room, and is that I'm coming into this a relative newbie. I'm fully aware of the original stage show and its connection to the Wizard of Oz. I've just never seen it, so I've got no frame of reference, so I can't really judge this as an adaptation. Although the many loyal fans are absolutely loving it, and I gotta say, I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by just how much I enjoyed this. I thought it was a really entertaining time at the movies. It's the sort of thing that you gotta see on the big screen with a crowd to really get the full experience. I mean, obviously this is this big extravagant musical with really entertaining numbers, great choreography, and also really cool flourishes. Whether it be this like spinning library and dancing through life, or whether you get this like unbroken tracking shot through the Emerald City, or even like one scene in which the wizard steps behind a curtain and you just see his silhouette playing about with a reflection, a projection of the moon. Really cool. It's so creative and so full of inventive flourishes that it's just so entertaining to watch. And obviously it helps that these amazingly designed sets are just on such a sense of scale that it really makes the world feel really tangible. Whether it be like the halls of Shiz or like, the shiny green architecture of the Emerald City. There is such an attention to detail that has gone into this that just makes it feel just that much more immersive. And there's great CGI for the animals too. From a technical perspective, it's pretty much near flawless. Although I will say the color grade is definitely a bit of a letdown. Like, you've got when you've got these, these dazzling, vibrant sets, the color grade should not be like washed out or desaturated. Surely it should be, just as vibrant. But no, instead, there's a lot of scenes that do have that sort of like washed out, desaturated look that is fairly standard for Hollywood blockbusters of the last several years. It does get a little better though as the film goes on, especially in the Emerald City, where you really does get that bit more vibrant. But it is definitely something worth bringing up. It's nothing immersion breaking, but definitely kind of a letdown with how much work has gone into this. And obviously, from a narrative perspective, there's a lot of really good stuff in here. Obviously, at its core, it's an exploration of, are villains born that way, or is it something that is thrust upon them? And this is, a great sort of central thesis, which, makes for a really compelling character arc for Elphaba. And there's actually some really great, interesting messages in here, whether it be the suppression of language as a way of getting control over minority voices, which is something that actually serves as a really unexpected, like, thematic companion piece to Kneecap and what that had to say about native languages and their place in culture. You also have, lines about how, there's nothing that brings the people together quite like a good enemy, which feels strikingly timely, especially after the events of the last few weeks. With all of this, this meaty stuff at play here, you can bet that the actors deliver. Obviously, you've got Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba. She does a really great job channeling sort of Elphaba's like tragic upbringing and how that comes out in her magic. And she's a very gifted singer too, so it really lends believability to the musical numbers. Ariana Grande is great too as Galinda. Obviously, yes, again, the singing is great, but I was really surprised by how good her acting is too. She's very much this, this privileged, sort of superficial student who, very much sees things in terms of like, social standing and popularity, but soon becomes a bit more mindful of the world around her as she begins to bond with Elphaba. And in fact, the dynamic between Arrivo and Grande is easily one of the strongest aspects of the film. They're a really great pair, and they actually get some really funny comedy bits. It's very entertaining stuff. And all the rest of the inhabitants of Oz are great too. You've got Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero, who's this dashing, rebellious prince who beneath that exterior actually has quite a good, caring heart to him. You've also got Ethan Slater as Bach, who's this sort of awkward but well-meaning munchkin who ends up in a relationship with Elphaba's sister Nessa Rose, and quite a charming little subplot. And you also have Bowen Yang as one of Galinda's close friends at Shiz. And making up the faculty, you've got Peter Dinklage as the voice of Dr. Dillamont, who's a goat that works as a professor of history at Shiz, who he does really great work with this actually quite tragic character. You also have Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible. And look, it's Michelle Yeoh. She's a very likable, entertaining screen presence in everything she's in. In fact, she actually won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once in the middle of filming this, so that's quite interesting. But easily, perhaps the most inspired casting choice by far is Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard of Oz. Like, come on, man. It's just, it fits like a glove, He's clearly been told, to play Jeff Goldblum, and yeah, that natural Goldblum charm works wonders for the wizard, who's this charismatic fraudster, who uses smoke and mirrors and force of personality to hide the fact that actually he has no real magic ability. And yeah, it is great. Works super, super well. Now, with all these characters, you're sort of there's a sort of risk that the film could potentially feel a bit bloated, given this 2 hour, 40-minute runtime. But actually, the pacing is really, really good. Like, I never truly felt the weight of that runtime at any point, and actually went by pretty well. The pacing is pretty spot on. Although I will say, at times the songs do have that sort of start-stop tendency that a lot of movie musical numbers do. So that can at times feel a bit like padding. You could easily trim that stuff out, and pacing would be just, would just be note perfect. But as it stands, though, the film actually kind of flies by, and the pacing is really good. And obviously, you've got to address the fact that, yeah, this is this is part one. This is only the first half of the stage show. And while, yes, it does do that part one thing, it does leave some breadcrumbs for the second part. It ends with Defying Gravity, which is, this real showstopper of a number that ensures that, you leave the cinema feeling really satisfied by the experience you've just had. And yeah, overall, really, really enjoyed Wicked. It's definitely the kind of thing that plays really well with a crowd. It is a great time, and I'm really looking forward to seeing part two next year. Overall, out of 10, Wicked gets an 8. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you seen Wicked? What do you think of it? Are you a fan of the stage show, or are you a newbie like me? I'd like to hear those perspectives. Will you be seeing part 2? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.